In the heart of a dusty rural village in Africa, where cracked earth whispered stories of survival and rivers dried before they could sing, lived a humble, barefoot girl named Abeni. Her skin glistened with the sheen of sweat from daily struggles, her hands calloused from pounding yam and fetching water, but within her burned the untamed fire of passion. Passion for food, for life, and for dreams far beyond the thatched roofs of her community. Every morning, as the rooster crowed, she would rise before the sun, grinding peppers with stone, stirring okra soup with wood, and infusing every dish with not just ingredients but hope. Her late mother had taught her that cooking was a form of love, a gift that could touch hearts. Abeni believed this with all her soul. But life in the village was cruel. Her father, a drunk broken by life's betrayal, mocked her dreams, dismissing her talent as useless. "Cooking will not save you from poverty," he would spit, throwing calabashes in anger. Still, she cooked for her siblings, for the sick, for the orphans, sometimes even when there was no firewood, only a spark of will. One fateful day, a renowned food festival was announced in the nearby city of Abeni, hosted by a famous billionaire hotelier named Chief Kelechi Adewale. He was seeking fresh talent for a new luxury restaurant in the capital. Abeni, barefoot and bold, sold her only hen to buy peppers and spices, then walked 7 hours to that city, carrying nothing but a small pot palm oil and her mother's broken wooden spoon. The other contestants laughed at her. Dressed in designer aprons and carrying shiny knives, they sneered at the village girl. But when she served her jollof rice with spicy goat meat and garden egg sauce, silence fell. Chief Kelechi took one bite and closed his eyes. "Who made this?" he asked, his voice trembling with something deeper than hunger. When Abeni stepped forward, everyone gasped. She was offered a job instantly, not just in the kitchen, but as the head cook for the billionaire's private mansion. Overnight, she moved from the dusty village to the shimmering world of gold-plated doors and chandeliers. But she remained humble. She cooked with the same love, the same care. It wasn't long before she met his only son, Tajudeen Adewale, a cold, emotionally distant man groomed for business, not affection. He saw Abeni as a servant at first, barely noticing her presence beyond her delicious meals. But something changed. Slowly, her dishes began melting his icy demeanor. Her yam porridge reminded him of childhood. Her fried plantains tasted like comfort. Her stews brought back memories of his mother, who had died when he was a boy. He began coming to the kitchen more often, not just for food, but to watch her. One night, as rain fell and thunder echoed, he found her crying softly beside the stove. She had burned her hand. Gently, Tajudeen wrapped it in cloth. For the first time their eyes met, and something passed between them. Not fire, not hunger, but something warmer. Abeni, the cook, had stirred his heart. Over the next few weeks, their bond grew. He asked her about her village, her dreams. She told him about her desire to open a school to teach girls how to cook and be independent. He listened. For the first time, he listened. They began eating together, laughing, even dancing in the kitchen at night when the mansion slept. Then one afternoon, Chief Kelechi summoned Abeni. "My son is falling for you," he said sternly. "But you are not his class. Stay in your place." Abeni, with tears in her eyes, promised to resign. But that night, before she could leave, Tajudeen found her. He took her hands and said, "You've cooked your way into my heart, and I will not let you go." They kissed for the first time under the stars beside the firewood stove. But fate had other plans. The next morning, Abeni vanished from the mansion. No note, no trace, just her wooden spoon left behind. Tajudeen searched every village, every town, but she was gone. What happened to Abeni? And why did she leave just as their love began to bloom? For weeks, Tajudeen couldn't sleep, haunted by the absence of the girl who had seasoned his life with love and warmth. He searched for her through chefs' networks, hospital records, even placing anonymous ads in local markets, but Abeni had vanished like steam from a simmering pot. What he didn't know was that Abeni had not left by choice. She had been sent away. Chief Kelechi, fearing the corruption of his bloodline, had secretly paid a gang to intimidate her. They threatened her family, dragged her through the back gate of the mansion in the middle of the night, and left her in the slums of a faraway city. Bruised and broken, she swore never to interfere into Judine's life again, for his own safety. But while she stitched herself back together in a poor neighborhood where rats roamed freely and hunger became normal, she didn't stop cooking. In a wooden shack with a leaking roof, Abeni opened a small roadside food stall. She named it Ayami's Blessing after her late mother and began again, serving soulful jollof, egusi soup, moi moi, and pounded yam to laborers, drivers, and mothers with crying babies. Her food, as always, told stories. And once again word spread. Within a few months, her food stall became a sensation. Locals traveled hours just to taste her miracle rice. Soon a local food critic wrote about her, calling her the hidden flame of Ibadan. That article ended up in the hands of none other than Judine, who had never stopped searching. The moment he saw the photo of her smiling behind a wooden table of steaming dishes, his heart nearly exploded. He drove 6 hours straight, alone, without bodyguards, to the slum. When he found her, she was serving food to an old blind man who called her daughter. For a moment she froze when she saw him. His tailored suit soaked with sweat, eyes heavy with sorrow. "Why did you leave?" he asked, voice cracking. She said nothing, just looked down, ashamed of her torn apron and cracked fingernails. "I was taken," she whispered. "They threatened my family. Your father paid them." Judine's jaw tightened. In that moment everything changed. Without hesitation, he took her hand and walked her out of the slum. Not just with love but with vengeance. That night, he stormed into his father's mansion. "You took away the only person who made me feel alive," he roared. "You taught me business. He taught me love. You betrayed me." Chief Kalechi, proud and unmoved, replied coldly, "You will thank me one day." But Judine didn't thank him. He walked out. Within weeks, he gave up his position at the family company and invested all his wealth in Abeni's dream, a culinary school and restaurant for underprivileged girls who could cook. Together they launched the Firewood Academy, a place where young women learned not just recipes, but confidence, economics, and self-worth. Abeni became a celebrity chef, but she never changed. She still used the same wooden spoon, still prayed before cooking, and always gave free meals to anyone who couldn't pay. Years passed, and one day, as Abeni stood before a crowd at a national award ceremony, receiving the People's Hero Medal, she saw a familiar old man in the audience. Chief Kalechi, aged, thinner, and alone, clapped with trembling hands. After the event, he approached her quietly and said, "Forgive an old man. I didn't understand love until I lost everything." She looked into his eyes and smiled gently. "Love isn't just a dish, sir. It's how you serve it." That evening, in a quiet garden lit with lanterns, Judine knelt before her and asked, "Will you cook for me for the rest of our lives?" Tears in her eyes, she whispered yes. Their wedding wasn't grand, but it was beautiful, filled with laughter, firewood aroma, and hundreds of village girls singing songs of hope. And in the middle of it all stood Abeni, the girl who cooked her way into a man's life, out of poverty, through betrayal, into love, and ultimately, into legend.